A very good morning to all viewers and listeners. I am the academic head of RAU's IAS Study Circle, a 63-year-old educational organization that focuses solely on helping students who aspire to become IAS officers. This is the first video in a set of videos where I will pick up individual questions based on one of the 6 subjects tested as part of IAS General Studies Paper 2 or CSAT. Please watch this video till the end and feel free to give your valuable suggestions on how we can improve the future videos. I have used my accent-neutral voice in this video session, so that my students who are not from North India do not have a problem with my normal North Indian accent. So you will find that my voice sounds different and more didactic, slow and clear, in this video session. Based upon reaction of students in class, I can go slow or fast and can ignore a concept or explain it more. But while preparing these videos, I cannot get real-time inputs from you, guys, so I will speak everything and that may slow down the narrative, and if you are a good student you may get impatient. Please bear with me, this will be a fruitful exercise for good and slow students both. The ideal way to get benefited from this video is to attempt the passage and 3 questions based on it before you watch this video. This passage and questions were originally released by UPSC before IAS 2011 Prelims exam to give students an idea of what will appear on the exam. Attempt the questions with the strategy taught in class, and once you have attempted the questions, watch the video. The video begins with a quick revision of the standard strategy used in comprehension questions. And then we look at the first passage, and individual analysis of each question. Please check, with a critical attitude, whether the extent of details to which I have explained the question is enough or do you need more explanation. Please feel free to comment on the video whether positive or negative. I would love to have your suggestions that I can incorporate in the first complete video on 27 comprehension questions that appeared in the IAS 2011 Prelims CSAT Paper 2. Your inputs will decide what direction this project takes further. Now let's analyze these questions released by UPSC even before 2011 IAS Prelims CSAT paper. The 3 comprehension questions were of easy to moderate level of difficulty in understanding, though some questions invited a lot of silly mistakes. A lot of confusing CSAT comprehension questions have attractive chimerical trap answers made up of information picked up from 2 different sentences which did not agree with the passage in meaning. So students who are into the habit of reading and understanding the passage, rely on memory and do not regress back to confirm the answer would have found the trap answers very familiar and got a feeling I just read this, and incorrectly picked up these trap answers. Overall, the passages and the questions were absolutely objective, and any student who cross-checked answers with passage before ticking them wouldn't have faced a problem. The first mistake made by untrained students while handling comprehension questions is that they read the passage very carefully and try to understand and remember the passage. Then they choose answers that sound good. Because of this approach, 2 problems happen. The first is that passages are designed very carefully so that students cannot understand them by reading them once or twice. A second issue is that careful reading of the passage makes students develop their judgments and opinions which are actually not supported by the passage. Handling the comprehension questions becomes easier if you read the passage casually, with a cool mind, and do not focus on trying to understand each and everything written in the passage, and do not focus on trying to remember everything. In the limited amount of time that you get on the exam, you cannot afford to focus on understanding each and everything written in the passage or focus on trying to remember everything written in the passage. Believe us when we tell you that you have a great brain, and if it is not overloaded with the tension of understanding and remembering everything, then it will perform excellently. So with a cool reading of the passage will give you enough of sense of the passage to answer questions. Moreover, it's an open book exam and the passages are not running away from you. They will be in front of you, and if you need any information to solve a question, then you can always go back to the passage and get proof of your answer. After reading the passage with a cool mind, comes the next step of jumping into questions. Handling the comprehension questions becomes easier if you are aware of the various types of questions and know the standard procedure for cracking them. Depending upon the type of question you are handling, you need to employ the right strategy for solving it. On the CSAT, comprehension has three categories of questions: specific questions, general questions, and perception questions. You need to be good at identifying the type of question you are handling, and you should know the right procedure or strategy for solving that question type. When it comes to attempting questions, students make the second possible mistake of attempting every question with the same zest, procedure and time. Actually, questions are of three different flavors. The three types not only need a different amount of time to solve but also demand a different method and attitude to solve. The three types of questions are specific, general and perception questions. The specific questions are the most abundant and the most easy also. The answers of these questions are written bluntly clear in a particular part of the passage. So all you are expected in a specific question is to understand what data, facts or figures is the question asking for. Now you go back to the passage and find the required information and then match it with the four options. 3 options will not match the information in passage and 1 option matches. And you get your answer objectively, and it does not even take a lot of time. The second type of questions are general questions. They are about 5 to 20% of questions. The general questions ask for information that pertains to the whole passage in a holistic manner. The conventional way of solving these questions requires that you read and understand the passage, and this method does give right answers, but you do not have the luxury of so much time on the CSAT to use this conventional method. That's the reason we learned critical mapping in class, to handle this seemingly difficult question type. The third type of questions are perception questions. They are also about 5 to 20% of questions. These questions require a certain sense of English language and are the only ones to test your actual understanding or comprehension of a bigger chunk of the passage. If we look at examples of each of the 3 question types, then specific questions can be of 6 types: vocabulary and context, line reference, specific detail, implied idea, multiple statement, and the Nelly questions, or those questions which use the words not, except, least, or incorrect. General questions can ask you for topic, title, or heading of passage, tone, or attitude of author and his views, organization, structure, architecture, or construction of passage. General questions most frequently ask you for the main, central, or primary idea, theme, purpose, function, concern, thrust, focus, interest, objective, intent, goal and message of the author or passage. Rather, asking the central message of the passage is actually a UPSC favorite. Perception questions can ask you for logical structure or relevance of a sentence or word, and check your argumentation skills by asking you the assumption taken by author, or what option would end up strengthening or weakening the author's viewpoint. Out of all these 3 question types, only the perception questions need an understanding of the passage. Luckily, the perception questions appear least frequently on the exam. This passage was the only comprehension passage that was released by UPSC before the 2011 exam. It was a short passage with 168 words and was followed by 3 questions. While reading this passage, if you focus too much on understanding everything written in passage, then you will psyche yourself out, end up suffering from performance pressure or test anxiety or just tension. And as we have already discussed in class, tension slows down your brain. So the ideal way was to read it casually with a cool mind and go back to the passage to get proof of your answers. Read the passage once again. The first question based on this passage was from the specific question family, specifically called as a specific detail question, Specific detail questions always have a keyword words that help us reach the part of the passage where the answer is located. The challenge in these questions is to stop yourself from extrapolating and picking your inferred position. Just stick to the stated information and pick up an answer supported by the passage and a safe answer. The key words in this question are a great paradox. And if I look at the context of the question, then it is really asking you, why is India a great paradox? These key words are stated in the first sentence: the economy of contemporary India is a great paradox. And the second sentence gives the answer as to why is Indian economy considered a great paradox. It is a strange combination of outstanding achievements as well as grave failures. But this answer is not one of the options. So we need to read further to find something acceptably similar to one of the choices. In a later part of the passage, third last sentence, an explanation of sentence 2 has been given that while our country has joined the league of the world's top 5 fastest growing economies, we are in the bottom 20 among all countries in terms of the Human Development Index. This comes closest to option C, which is the chosen answer. Option C says it is one of the largest economies with low human development. Take your time and compare the sentence underlined in purple and option C. But other choices seem close, so let's see if we can find reasons why they could be wrong. In case of option A, the low levels of literacy may be an indicator of low human development index, social contradictions, or the paradox and ironies of development. But this low levels of literacy part is not explicitly mentioned. This is enough an excuse to kick out option A. In case of option B, the poverty amidst plenty in agricultural produce may be an indicator of low human development index, social contradictions, or the paradox and ironies of development. But this poverty amidst plenty in agricultural produce part is not explicitly mentioned. This is enough an excuse to kick out option B. In case of option D, social contradictions is mentioned in the passage and the whole option looks like a paradox that despite scientific achievements we have social contradictions. But the scientific achievements part is again not explicitly mentioned. This is enough an excuse to kick out option D. Option C is a safe answer as it finds support from the information in the passage. Now read question 2, which says, why is India being referred to as a leading player in the world knowledge economy? Question 2 belongs to the specific question family. More specifically, it is a specific detail question. These specific detail questions always have a keyword words that help us reach the part of the passage where the answer is located. The challenge in these questions is to stop yourself from extrapolating and picking your inferred position. Just stick to the stated information and pick up an answer supported by the passage and a safe answer. The key words in this question are leading player in the world knowledge economy. This is stated in the sixth sentence of passage. Now the country is one of the leading players in the world knowledge economy with vast intellectual capital and booming software and information technology services. As you can see, this comes closest to option B, which is the chosen answer. But other choices seem close, so let's see if we can find reasons why they could be wrong. In case of option A, you may hold the belief and agree that India's knowledge base in science and technology is one of the world's best. But this is not explicitly mentioned in the passage in our key sentence or anywhere else. This is enough an excuse to kick out option A. Another excuse that could have helped you avoid option A is the presence of superlative degree, best, mentioned in it. Usage of superlative degree is a ploy to trap unsuspecting students who get attracted to answers which use strong language like superlative degree, comparative degree, etc. In case of option C, the India is among the world's 5 fastest growing economics and technology reserves. may be mentioned in the passage but is not mentioned in the key sentence and does not answer the question correctly. This is enough an excuse to kick out option C. In case of option D, yes, I also agree with you when you believe that India has a huge reservoir of human capital and scientific knowledge export potential. But this is not mentioned in the passage. This is enough an excuse to kick out option D. Option B is a safe answer as it finds support from the information in the passage and from the key sentence. Now read question 3, which says, what does the author imply by the phrase two Indias? This question belongs to the specific question family and is specifically an inference question. Now, inference questions may be identified by a lead word such as infer, conclude, imply, true according to passage, etc. The keyword or words that help us reach the part of the passage where the answer is located are in the language of question or in the options. Again, the challenge in these questions is to stop yourself from extrapolating and picking your inferred position. Just stick to the stated information and pick up an answer supported by the passage and a safe answer. Well, once in a while if you don't get an explicitly mentioned answer then you are permitted to read between lines, but still avoid your own opinions. Let's start with eliminating wrong options. In case of option A, we know and agree that India has vast intellectual capital and the other that is largely illiterate. But the literacy issue has not been mentioned in the passage. This is enough an excuse to kick out option A. In case of option C, again, we know that India is polarized into progressive mindsets and the other who are socially conservative, but this polarization has not even been hinted or explored in the passage. This is enough an excuse to kick out option C. In case of option D, yes, I also agree with you when you believe that India has had outstanding achievements combined with failures, but gigantic is too strong a word to agree with the neutral tone of passage. This is not mentioned in the passage. Let's kick out option D. But if we look at option B, it is a safe answer as it finds support near the key last sentence carrying the keywords two Indias as the second last sentence says while the country is celebrating its growth rate and technological wonders, it is witnessing social contradictions and the paradox and ironies of development. This widespread want and misery could be indicative of social contradictions and the paradox and ironies of development. Option B is the best answer. So what now? These were the first 3 questions released by UPSC for CSAT Comprehension. In the next session, I will cover CSAT Comprehension questions of 2011 Prelims paper and we will study more about other type of comprehension questions. We will also move on to other 5 subjects of CSAT paper 2. Until then, I want you to tell me whether you like this video session and you have to give me any suggestions to improve the later videos. I want you to subscribe this YouTube channel, so that you can automatically get the future instructional videos that I plan to release weekly or fortnightly. I also want you to share this video on your Facebook page so that others can benefit.